This is Beck Lane. This is Beck Lane, and the channel is, I'm Beck Lane. I'm Beck Lane, and this is Catalyst and Company. Catalyst and Company, where sometimes I can see through my little glasses and sometimes I can't, and my hair is usually obnoxious. I want to shave it all off. Oh my God. Anyway, Catalyst and Company, we're catalysts in each other's lives as well as catalysts in our own. And we work to becoming the artists we've always wanted to be. Behind me is a canvas I'm setting up, and I'm gonna talk to you about it, because that's what I do. But, all right, come on, let's find a good place for everybody. Little camera. As you know, I didn't realize it. I understood that I was offered a wall to do a mural downtown. As it turns out, they have a couple of other people who are submitting work, and that kind of brought me down a little bit. And yesterday I was finding out that this is yours, wasn't this is yours, this is something else. Again, it brought me down a little bit, but I like the guy in charge. I liked and I really want to work with him, so I'm not going to throw a temper tantrum, and I'm not going to let it get me too down. I'm going to keep steam rolling ahead, something like that. I'm just going to keep doing the work, regardless. I'm working on, or I've started the process of developing a submission, the submission for the wall. Yesterday I went into panic mode just a little, because it is a big job. And I'm not well versed in doing murals. I've done murals indoors, but I haven't done murals outdoors. So I wasn't thinking I can't do this. It was just like, it's so big and there's so many details and I don't know. And I got myself into such a dither that last night when I was sitting down and kind of writing out ideas and doing a little bit of research on the person that I'm painting and the area that it's going to be painted in. I wasn't thinking this is impossible. I do not suffer from imposter syndrome. I just assume I can do the job. It was just so big, and a lot of unanswered questions that I got overwhelmed and I went to bed. But first I looked up little things that I want to include in the mural, little things that might be historically important. It may mean nothing to anyone but me, but I love symbolism. And so I was looking up different symbols. And again, reading about this area of Sarasota. And I had asked what the size of the wall is. And I hadn't gotten an answer back yet. So instead of being a big baby about it, I'm like, well, can you tell me? I got on my little scooter and I rode down there this morning. And that's something I don't really like to do because the scooter's in rough shape. The tires are bald. Wait a minute, let me get some water. They're either, one's bald, the other one is balding. They need to be replaced. The brakes need to be replaced. It needs a tune-up. It just goes on and on. But you know what? And sometimes it just doesn't want to drive. But I did it anyway. I got on, I went downtown. I went to the location. The building is split into sections of cemented pieces that were put up, so I measured out the cemented bits. They're on a grid. So I measured out the cemented bits, and then it was just math from there. And I was able to figure out that the area is 22 feet wide by about 28 inches high. and I'm looking at it, and I'm taking pictures, and I'm doing the math, and I'm still thinking, I've never been up that high, not to paint. I've been 15 and 20 feet off the floor, but not, 28 feet in the air, not 4 stories in the air. Or I'm sorry, yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, there's 4 stories, I believe, but the area I would be painting is 28 inches high. It starts at a certain level above the entry door and goes up. So it'd actually be about 40 feet off the ground. And I'm like, oh my God, 40 feet off the ground, how do you do it? How does that work? Well, lo and behold, I decided to walk around and look at some of the murals downtown. And there's a couple mural artists here who actually go around the world and do murals. Not like a ton. There's a ton of very amateur work that was thrown up. But there's some that are, they're not quite Shepherd Ferry, but they're getting there. And as I'm driving around, or about to leave downtown, I saw a guy working on a mural, and he had a lift. He had an aerial lift. And so I stopped. He happened to be on break. I stopped and said, introduced myself and said, do you mind if I ask you some questions? And he was like, no, it's okay, go ahead. Because I told him what was going on, and, that I haven't painted an outdoor mural off the ground yet, but it's something I've really always wanted to do. I wanted to get into murals. So we talked, he helped to answer practical questions that I had. He was also very encouraging. I gave him a brochure of my work, and he and his friend, who was someone else I know from online, that was very cool. I know them from Instagram. They both answered my questions. They were very helpful. And it turns out the friend that was visiting him does drone photography, and as well as a number of other things. And so he was like, oh, if you want to do drone photography, this is my card. Give me a call. I'm like, oh my God, this is perfect, because this is something else I want to have access to, but I don't want to fly a drone. I don't want to own a drone. I just don't want to. I don't want to take away from other things I could be doing. So let somebody else do it. Well, anyway, my new friend Matt, at the end of our conversation, he was packing up anyway because it's very hot and it looks like it's going to storm pretty bad. I said, would you mind taking me up in the lift? Now, I've never been in a lift before. I've never been in a scissor lift or an aerial lift before. And I said, if you don't want to, it's okay. And he said, no, come on. So he had me get in. And we went up and up, and first I'm thinking, I think I'm supposed to be scared. I think I'm supposed to be scared of being off the ground. And so I almost tried to dig myself into being scared to be off the ground. And then I went, you're an idiot. Stop thinking that way. You're not even a little bit scared. So we went, I think we went 30, 35 feet off the ground. We're up, and I looked down and I went, yeah, that's a little weird, but it's not bothering me. What bothered me was the wind. And he said, you will get a little seasick. If you get seasick in a boat, you might get a little seasick in these when the wind starts to blow. And I'm like, oh, okay. You just take a break when that happens. But he answered a number of other questions about contracts and pricing, the information I've gotten from other people, but I like to ask. I like to be armed with as much information as possible. So he just stood there and he answered all my questions. He was awesome. And apparently this is all this guy does, is murals. He's doing several in Sarasota. Oh, no, sorry. He's headed to Inglewood to do, I think, 5. And it just seems like such a great job. It just not particularly fun, but different. You know, he was explaining to me the sun, the mural, the wall. If I get it, well, right, when I get a wall, when I get this wall, I will be in direct sunlight all day long. He has an umbrella stuck on his. He said the problem is if the paint on the wall is white, it's going to bounce back out, of course, and burn you. You're going to end up with severe sunburns. Okay, then we just find a way around that. But anyway, we shook hands and we left that conversation. We talked about another artist I follow online, a couple of mural artists I follow online. He's like, oh, this guy's in Bradenton. And, you know, this guy is so-and-so in this place. We just talked about several different things and exchanged information, and I got on the scooter, which ran great, by the way, all the way home, even though it's having trouble. And you know what? I just thought, I got back here and I'm doing the math on the wall, you know, how much to charge and how long it'll take and blah, blah, blah. And I went, I can do this. I can do this. This isn't that hard. It's just not letting myself get overwhelmed. Like I said, I don't suffer from imposter syndrome. I know I'm all that. I'm pretty secure in my value and what I bring to the table. So, not imposter syndrome, but it's still, you know, 20 feet, what would be 40 feet off the ground? That's a little high. That's not normal. That's not every day. But I look forward to it. I'm really, really, really looking forward to this. Now, what I'm doing right now is setting up the canvas, because yesterday, like I said, I started to, where's my coffee? I started to confuse myself and make things a bigger deal than it was, and trying to do all this research and doing all this research, which is important, and writing things down and trying to figure out how to work in symbolism through colors and images into this thing. And I'm thinking about a couple of paintings I've done before and how can I work elements of those paintings in. And then I'm looking at other people's murals and I'm like, yeah, but that mural artist is so great, and they do this, and they, you know, look at it, and you'll never be that level, or I'm thinking you'll never be able to do that. And today I'm like, of course I can. Of course I can do it. So I came home and started prepping this canvas. Now this canvas, let me get my measurement stuff. This canvas is, I decided to come home and not try and be fancy and tricky and clever and like throw 100 things at the canvas. I'm going to paint the image the way I would always paint the image for here. I'm going to do what I do. And then I'm going to take the image, once it's done, photograph it, send it to a friend of mine who's going to help me set up a grid, and then he'll send back an image of the grid, and I'll explain the grid in a minute, with that image over the top of it. Then I'm going to take the setup he's produced, and I'm going to turn around, and what you can't see are the two canvases the size and back of the camera. This particular canvas is 4 foot wide, 5 foot high. What I'm doing with two canvases behind me that I'll project the image onto, or you know, grid the image onto, I've got them turned. So they're going to be two 5 foot wide by 4 foot high canvases. Let me just show you, because this is dumb. There they are. There they are on the floor. I'm going to take these two canvases and stack them like this, like we do in every other painting. The same thing, a little bit bigger. I actually came home last night and looked at this, you know, when I was having my anxiety attack or whatever, and I'm talking to my neighbor and I'm like, oh, Oh, that's not that big. I could just do that now and be done with it. But instead of working 5 foot by 10 foot, I'm going to work on the smaller one. Let's go back. There we go. 4 foot wide by 5 foot high. And I'm going to stick to the plan. Stick to doing this image the way I would do it normally with all my little fancy doodads and curly cues and stuff. Photograph it. My friend Jonathan is going to apply a grid to it, a grid that I'm going to set up. He's going to apply a grid to it, and then I can take that. Okay, it's confusing right now. Take that and apply it to the two canvases, and that way I can tweak the image. If I decide to eliminate some things or add some things, or it's not quite wide enough, or it's not quite tall enough, then I will have the opportunity to tweak them. Then I'll photograph these two canvases as one, and that will be the sample that I'll send in. That will be my submission. In the gridding system that I've mentioned now several times in a weird, vague way, there's several different ways that you can grid paintings. I don't like gridding where people measure things out and they put little lines and they do this thing, and it's almost like tracing to me. I absolutely hate it. I would never do it. Drives me up a tree, but some people do. Now, where's my coffee? Here it is. But I've discovered something that mural artists use, which is a doodle grid. Doodle, D-O-O-D-L-E grid. I call it chaos. It is this. It is almost, or it can be this, with the black and white swipes. This could be a grid. This could be a grid, but a doodle grid is writing out shapes and numbers and letters, whatever you want, all over the surface that you're going to use. All over the surface that you're going to use. Then you take the image that you want to project onto the surface, you photograph it, you run it through Photoshop or whatever, you add your laid out grid of numbers and letters or shapes or whatever, you take a photograph of the letter, number, shape grid, you take the photograph, or you use the photograph that you're going to want to apply to that surface, you overlay them using transparency, overlay them, and then you've got how the image is going to be reproduced. So once again, when this is done, I'm going to photograph it. But what I'm going to do is turn around and prep the two canvases behind me using black and white gesso and a doodle grid with letters, numbers, sayings, whatever, in pencil all over it. So I'll photograph the image that I produced, the two canvas doodle grid, chaos grid, send it to my friend Jonathan, who has the capability to match them up. Yes, to match them up. So then I can take that image, the image with the grid and the opacity, and they're working together, and it's a map. It's a little bit of a map. So that I can then project the image on there and just duplicate it on a different surface. When we're done with that, we'll repeat it. Photograph the finished image on the two canvases and apply the same techniques to the wall. It sounds easy and complicated, but I'm like, I got this. I got this. And once I start practicing it, by the time we get to do the mural on the wall, it'll be no big deal. And I actually figured something else out, and there's a whole bunch of helpful hints in this stuff that I'm learning. Oh, what did I figure out? I forgot. Oh, in getting ready to do the mural, I'm going to have to practice. I'm going to have to practice my aerosol. I'm going to have to practice doodle grid. I'm going to have to practice so many different things, so that by the time I'm in an aerial left, zippity-doo-dooing my way 4 stories up, I have no issues. But I was thinking, oh, I gotta get plywood, then it's gonna be primer, and I'm gonna have to prime things, and I'm gonna have to set up in the backyard, and this is just gonna be a mess and more costly. And this is some of the stuff that was welling up yesterday, but it dawned on me. I don't have to get plywood. I don't have to make this into a big deal, because we've got Craft paper. This is about $5 a roll, 15 if I get wider, if I get a more appropriate size. I can just practice all the crap I need to practice on craft paper for an eighth of the price of anything else. I don't have to keep using up canvas, and I don't have to get plywood. I don't have to get anything other than cheap, inexpensive, rather, craft paper. To practice, so that once I am up on the wall, I'm good to go. It is no issue. So I can, you're not supposed to do this indoors, but I'll do it, I'll probably have to practice outdoors because of wind and stuff. But regardless, it doesn't matter. I can just practice. Aerosol techniques using different caps, which I don't really know and care about, but I've got to. Practice brush strokes. Practice how transparent I can make different paints and still keep them effective. How I can make aerosols a little bit transparent and keep them effective. Or thick. How do I keep them from dripping? Do I want to use aerosol or do I want to use a roller? These are all things I can practice on either plastic wrap, like I have up here, or in the paper. Ta-da! Look at this. We got this. No big deal. Oh, I want to say a few thank yous too while we're doing this. I want to say a number of thank yous. Thank you again, Eric. Thank you again. Where am I? Thank you again, Eric. Thank you again, Karen. Thank you again, Miss Anonymous. There really was I was shocked. I was so surprised because it's been so long. Really, took care of a number of things yesterday between you and Eric. You know, we got a number of things accomplished. Thank you. So Eric, Karen, Miss Anonymous, and then Susan. I got a notification on my phone from you. I can't find the message. Maybe it's on Facebook. I checked Dick Blick. I have not received, just so you know, I'm not complaining, I haven't received an email notification of the gift card, which thank you very much. I haven't received email notification of the gift card yet, and so if you could send me any information you have, that would be awesome. And I went into Dick Blick, but there's no way to even check your gift card or not. You have to have the order number and a code and the whole thing. So whatever you have, if you could send it to me, I'd really appreciate it. Karen's card is sitting there. I've been waiting to see if people help out so we can accrue. So we can accrue enough to either go to Dick Blick or order from. And Lisa, I saw your message about Dick Blick. I saw part of it anyway. Yes, Dick Blick does deliver. They're very, very, very slow. It can take a week or so to get the product to you. And I found a lot of times the shipping is as much as whatever you have purchased. I've bought aerosols from them and it's been agonizingly slow. One shipment, I think it was a couple of cans, took 10 days. They gave it was UPS or FedEx or somebody, they delivered it to the wrong house. And then, like I said, the shipping was as much as the aerosol paint itself. We talked about buying canvases from Dick Blick and whether to drive there or have them shipped. The canvases at Dick Blick are they're better. The stretchers themselves are a better quality than at Michael's or AC Moore or whatever. So they're twice as much. They're twice as expensive. So you can expect to pay, I could expect to pay $200, $250 for a canvas like this size, I think, if I remember correctly. And the shipping, I remember looking at the shipping for it, it was about $200. Like, I could rent a car and drive there for less than that. I was looking at Dick Blick also for canvases in packs to see if they were less expensive, but it's freight. The size that I get, it's freight shipping, which means it's got to go in a truck. You know, it's not like here's your tiny little canvas in the post office mail. It's, you know, there's a lot more involved. Anyway, that's where we are with Dick Blick. They're expensive. They're just more expensive all the way across the board. So I'm waiting to see if people people can help out, or something breaks in my life, you know, and I get to just drive to Dick Blick and go, I want everything. I'm less apt to buy online. It certainly is more convenient, but it is also inconvenient at the same time. I need to see the colors. I actually don't have an exact palette for this yet, which is another thing I was agonizing about last night while I was like, you know, zebra, long wings, or Florida, you know, or the butterfly for the state of Florida, and they're attracted to this, and I'm thinking all these thoughts, and where do they collect, and they're zebra, long wings, unlike most, I don't know, most butterflies or something or other. Monarchs do this, but what I was reading was zebra long wings congregate, and they congregate, and they'll find one place to sleep for the night, and they'll all go there. I think monarchs do that as well, but whatever I was reading last night said they're the only butterfly that does this thing that I think everybody does. Picking out like the state flower, the state tree, the state, whatever represents Florida, would also be representative of the African American community that lived here, but also what really encompasses the community as a whole. That's what I was trying to find last night. And the zebra longwing is one of them, because of their inclination to congregate. Okay, this isn't coming out right, and I'm starting to lose it and spin off. Because what I want to express is the community, the black community here in Sarasota. It was Overtown. Is now Newtown, but Overtown was actually kind of a town unto itself. It was very segregated. It was highly segregated. But there were shops, there were restaurants, there's the barber, there's, you know, the guy, there's, you know, they had everything that they needed was encompassed in this town. It was all right there, so they didn't have to go outside the city. They didn't have to deal with the white people around them except to go to work. You know, it's really kind of incredible. There's a plaque downtown trying to explain to people about what Overtown was. So I want to reflect that. I want to reflect the actual community that was there. As white people, we tend to take it for granted. We've got the pharmacy downtown, and when I was growing up, we've got the 5 and 10 and the clothing shop, and that's normal and natural. Well, for African Americans, for Black Americans, it's important. It's important to have an established community where, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. I completely understand how it's important to have a community that is safe and insulated, and especially then through Jim Crow and etc. And now even, it's important to feel safe and insulated. And so this little Overtown, this little neighborhoods of Overtown, they were safe. They were safe. They had friends, family. They had businesses. They didn't need white people. They didn't have to depend on anyone but themselves, except for working outside the community, where then, of course, racists and horrible people. But so I'm trying to find things to reflect, and I know there was something else, and blah, 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 tabba-dabba-da. Trying to find colors to work into the symbolism and the understanding that I have, as best I have, and reflecting the tenacity of Emma E. Booker, her perseverance, her dedication to education, to the community, setting up, raising money for the first African-American black school in Sarasota. Just her complete, she dedicated her entire life to education, education of others, education of the community, education of children, and also of herself. And she was a beacon. Here these kids could go to school and they were safe. They could learn in a safe environment. They didn't have the best of everything. That was saved for white children. They got the remnants. But I don't want to reflect that. I want to reflect everything that's good and positive about Emma E. Booker and Overtown. Blah bitty blah. Blah bitty blah. All right, let's see. Why don't I start sketching this in and we'll get into Studio Mate. I know it's been 30 minutes of me talking nonstop. Really, in real life, I can't do this. I can't chat. I get too nervous. Oh, that's what I need. Blah bitty blah blah. Yeah, so Susan, sorry, if you could, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And it was also, if you could get that information to me, it would be fantastic. Because it's not showing up anywhere. And I'm like, oh my God, I think Susan sent me a gift card. And if you haven't, that's fine too. I don't mind. I also want to thank someone else who I haven't mentioned in any of their videos. You know, I've been thanking Eric and Wesley and Bill and, you know, Kerry and our friend Kerry and all these people. But I haven't thanked someone who helped me out like this. You know, she wanted to help me get supplies. Last year, my friend Valerie, and Valerie, I've known Valerie since high school. She was a year behind me in high school, and she really has always been a good and dear friend. I don't know if I talked about her. I may have. If I did, or even if I didn't, I'll tell you, Valerie was always my white whale. That's what I called her, and it's not an insult. She was always the person I was chasing. She's the reason that I push myself and try to improve and change the way I paint and just try to become better as an artist. Valerie worked in the arts and culture scene in Boston, and she was at a pretty high level. She was at a very high level, actually very high. And she will dispute that, but it's true. What she did for a job has affected people in a very public way, in a very meaningful way. She was very important to, she's been very important to lots and lots of people. And there's a print on her shirt. And I always get a little angry. For a long time, for decades, I was angry because she was at this higher level. And, you know, I thought, why doesn't she just reach out her hand and help me? Or, you know, why can't she say to somebody, you know, here I've got this friend who's an artist and blah, blah, blah. And we've talked about it, and we actually laughed about it. Because I was always like, why not me? Why not me? I'm still that way. Why not me? But looking back, I wasn't really an artist. I was a poser. I wanted to be an artist. I would pretend I was an artist, but I wasn't working at it all the time. I wasn't showing. I was too nervous. I was okay, but I wasn't very good. Let me put it this way. I couldn't do what I'm doing now. I didn't have the ability. So, while I was very upset with her and pissy about it and didn't speak to her for a long time because mad, I changed the way I paint. And it's not because of, well, it is because of Valerie. I just wanted to keep proving. I wanted to prove to Valerie and my friend Val that I could be really good and I could be excellent and I could paint. But I never said that to her until recently. I'm a little embarrassed by it, but not really at the same time. It's because of her. Because she didn't when I thought she could, that I got better. Ow. Okay, here's the thing. It's harder for me to reach up with the canvas. It's hard for me to reach up, so I'm moving everything up and down, and I was sitting here earlier going, how am I going to be able to do this in a crane, or not in a crane, in the aerial lift? And then went, oh, dummy. The aerial lift lifts you up, you can turn it, you can come back, you have full control. It is so friggin' awesome. I can't wait to get in one. I want to own one now. I just want to live in a crane, or in an aerial lift. Okay, so I'm going to start this painting the way I would any other painting. I'm not going to be concerned about zebra, long-winged butterflies. I'm not going to be concerned about anything. We're going to set up the patterns. And again, when I come back, when I go to transfer it, I keep what I like, change the rest, alter it. I can do whatever I want. So I'll shut up and let's studio mate for a while. Meaning I'll work on my side of the studio, you work on yours, you work on your project. I won't make, and the perfect thing is, I won't make a mess on your side of the studio, and I don't owe you rent. That's the best. Oh, sorry, still yapping. But since I was mentioning Dick Blick and all that stuff, if you'd like to help me get more supplies to take on this leg of the submission, this leg of the mural project, there's links to Dick Blick, Michael's, Cash App, PayPal. They'll all be down below. Because I still need more paints. I'm going to need a number of things to get through this leg of the submission. And I did get paint yesterday, by the way. I got some aerosols. But those are going to go quick. There. Thank you. Yeah, I did the math too, going from here to there to the wall. Or doing the math. It's gonna be wild. I'm so excited about this. I keep doing the process over and over and over again in my head. Doing the steps, what do I need to get from where I am now to there? Okay, I don't want to go any higher. That up. So another thing I was trying to figure out is, do I need a team of people to help me because of my physical limitations? I've realized I don't. I can do it. It's just preparation. And once you're up in that lift bucket, there's no room anyway. I don't think I could take anybody being with me. Too much of a loner as it is. And I can do this. I got this. this is important to me. Both of the figures are wearing these really sweet shoes, and it's a, to me, having these beautiful shoes is an indication of how they see themselves, and they regard what they're doing and their education. They're well dressed, you know, it says something about their status. So I want the shoes in the picture this time, whereas sometimes I don't care. This is why I want to do the whole figure, not just random faces. It's actually because of these shoes. I love it because they both got their toes pointed towards the camera, and they're on equal footing. They're exactly diagonal, horizontal to each. I mean, the points of their shoes are horizontal to each other. They're perfectly placed. So they're equals, and I love that. I love it so much. Okay, let's turn it around. I'm moving it because I can't quite, lucky you, I can't quite fit their shoes in against that wall. It's too low. So I'm moving it back over here to my second painting station so I can work some things out. This is, again, this painting station has ladder back chairs on it and a little shelf. So I slide the shelf in and out of the ladder back chairs and make it higher or lower depending. There we go. You don't need to see my can. Like I said, the shoes are so important. I don't want to cut them out, so we're going to have to reconfigure everything. Before I aerosol them in. Oh boy. I love those shoes. Miss Booker is wearing particularly sweet shoes, really dainty. Okay, now this is all going to have to be refigured, which is fine. Reconfigured. Go up. Her face is important to show, but the one photograph they have available, they don't even have the original photograph. The one photograph they have, it's a very muddied face, and it's been reproduced so many times that there are no details to it. So I'm kind of going to have to wing it just a tiny bit. I can see in her face that she's looking at the students. She's got this really sly smile on her face. It's very slight, but it's there, and I could see where she was looking at the student. And I just love it. Again, I want to get these shoes in here. You're a tiger. Don't say tigers. Yeah? Well, I gave you chicken. You didn't want to eat it, remember? You said no, I don't like that. You said no, no. See how easy that is? Easier than an easel. Okay, wait a minute. Where's her shoe? Miss Booker was a big girl. Big sturdy legs. Hold up a community on those legs. Oops. I don't know if you can hear her, but my neighbor is cooking, and she's not very quiet. As she talks to her kids, it's kind of in a high-pitched tone. It's really funny. So if you hear anything, that's who it is. She's a real sweet lady. Sadly, my landlord raised her rent, and probably mine too. I haven't been notified, but raised her rent $200, so she would be paying $2,000 a month. And she's not willing to do that, so she bought a house. She bought a house. Planning on staying another year, so she would have been here 2 years. We would have been here 2 years together. And instead, she was notified her rent was going up, and she 2 days later she had a bid into, well, the next day she put a bid in on a house, wrote the owners a letter, and they accepted it. They accepted her offer, and off she goes. I'm happy for her. I'm sad for me. Because I never feel safe with people. I literally never feel safe around people. I never relax. I'm always nervous. And I felt safe around her. We've been through a lot together in the past year. So Chimmy's gonna move. The little kitty Chimmy that I've talked about is gonna go. She's gonna go. Her kids are gonna go, and I'll be here by myself. Again. It's fine. Whatever. I just happen to really like this woman. We're good friends. So it's sad. She's sad too, but she wasn't willing to pay $2,000 a month, even though like this house is perfect for everybody. We've got a nice backyard. It's quiet. We work together on everything. We share food. We share stuff. Just. Landlord going up on the rent again. Another story. Landlord going up on the rent. Luckily she found a way out, and she was able to buy a house. She has somewhere to go. Too dark. Last night she made pizza, and she shares this. My favorite pizza is just there's very little tomato sauce. It's mozzarella, tomatoes, and I don't think she even put tomato sauce on it. Maybe a tiny bit. Anyway, mozzarella, basil, and little tomatoes. We sat outside drinking, or she was drinking, and I was eating pizza. It was awesome. In a few weeks, she'll be gone. share all kinds of things. I gave her bread and cheese and stuff the other day. We just go back and forth on everything. We're sharing. I got laundry detergent 2 for 1. So it's, don't waste your money on laundry detergent. Use what is out there. And she's shared laundry detergent with me too. And we've got a cup full of change, and sometimes she takes it. She has to use it. Sometimes I take some of it. Her daughter needed $5 a few weeks ago, and I put a $5 bill in, and I noticed it went missing, and I'm like, uh-oh, what? Because sometimes we use it to buy detergent. And so I asked her, I said, I just want to, I don't mind. I just need to know. And she said, oh, my daughter needed it. And I was like, oh, okay. I don't care. I don't care. I just want to make sure that everybody has what they need. Now I think I've got them sketched out in chalk, as you can see, the 2 figures. I think in the next one, when I go to do the actual painting for submission, I'm going to move them over a little bit, because I'm thinking about putting greens in. This is where things are going to get tricky, but I'm not going to overwhelm myself with it right now. The cap on this is pretty clogged. But that's good. It slows everything down. It slows me down. Have a neat tip clogged like that. I like it. Right now. Anyway. Comes out with this. Just a little bit. Oh my god. Okay, that cap's dead. This one's going to be running faster. Wait, let me see if I have a pinpointy one. It's supposed to be pinpointy. It's not very pinpointy. See? I don't like. Yeah. Spraying all over the place. things are about to get pretty loud. My neighbor's family's here, so they're gonna be talking a lot, and it may get pretty loud. And it doesn't look like we got very far, but at least I got the basic shapes in, and then it's just shaping and reshaping, shaping and reshaping, shaping and reshaping. But I also want to stop because I got to cut some stencils, and you know, get ready to start digging into this. So I'm Beck Lane. This is Catalyst and Company. Catalyst and Company. We're a catalyst. Ooh, look at my hair. In each other's lives as well as catalysts in our own. And as you know, or if you've watched this all the way through, you know that I'm starting the first step in producing a submission for a mural. Again, this is just the first step, and you're just gonna watch it. You're gonna be working with me side by side in Studio Mate in another state, where I'm working in my studio, you're working in yours, but I'm not making a mess on your side of the studio, and I don't owe you rent, which is awesome. So, anyway, I'm Beck Lane. This is Catalyst and Company. If you'd like to help support Catalyst and Company, or help get supplies, so we can get through the first, second, third stage of the mural, and then get the submission in. All the links are down below, to Dick Blick, Michael's, which I have one here in town. It's right up the street, super easy. But so Dick Blick, Michael's, Cash App, and PayPal. Cash App and PayPal are awesome because there's so many incidentals that I need, and a gift card doesn't quite do it. Or like I've got gift cards, and I have to be able to get to a Dick Blick. If you help send support through Cash App, PayPal, I can put it towards renting a car and getting out of here. Getting to Dick Blick in Tampa, which is quite a ways away. My little scooter isn't going to drive up the highway. So anyway, Beck Lane, Catalyst and Company, ready? Thanks to everybody who's been helping out and supporting so far, who's sent in support, financial support. It is so very deeply appreciated. Again, thank you to Eric, Karen, Susan, and Miss Anonymous. All right, thank you so much. And we'll see you again soon. Okay, ciao. Ready, Carrie? Here we go. Oh, God. All right, can someone get my hair cut? Can someone send me money so I can get my hair cut? And yes, I keep asking for money because I'm not working and sales are slow. So there we are. I've got my tin can out. God, I've got Bugsy's old shaver. Maybe I'll just do that. I'll just shave it off myself. Anyway, ready, Carrie? Here we go. Ciao. Meow, 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 meow. Boink. I want to be on that lift, that aerial lift. That would be awesome. Okay, let's try again. Ready? That's all I can think about. I want to be in the aerial lift, 40 feet off the ground, and working. It's so awesome. Here we go. Boink.